In this video, we're going to be looking at the support generation module of Magix that allows us to create supports for the metal 3D printing processes. Our machine that we're looking at today is an EOS M290. The first thing that we can do is if we look at either our build preparation drop-down menu and go to the support generation portion of it, or I can go to the support generation toolbar. That's where we can find the tools for us to generate supports for our metal processes. I want to be able to analyze a part to determine where my supports are going to go before I actually generate those supports. So on my support generation toolbar, I can find a button that will give me a support preview, and it uses a value that is in the machine parameter profile that says that I have a minimum self-supporting angle of 40 degrees. So any triangle that is 40 degrees or less from the horizontal XY plane is going to require supports. All triangles that are greater than 40 degrees from horizontal will not get supports. And what we see here in this particular orientation is that everywhere that it is red, this means that I have down-facing triangles directly to the XY plane. If I look at my colors, I can see that the end of the color range is going to be nearing 40 degrees, and this is going to be 0 degrees. This will actually change in real time if I rotate this part, and you can see I'm rotating it around the y-axis, so you can see it change in real time. Once I determine that I have the supporting angle that I want, I'm going to simply click this button, generate support if selected, and Magix will create the supports for all the parts that I have selected on my build platform. So if I have multiple parts loaded, it's going to make supports for all of those. Once I decide that I want to edit those supports, I can click this button, and I can only do this one part at a time. Click the Generate Support button, and it will take me into the support generation module. The first button that I want to look at here is found on the support generation toolbar, and it is the button at the very left, which actually is called the View All button, and it will turn my supports on and off by what's selected. My selected support will be yellow, and the non-selected supports will be red. It just helps me make it so it's easier to look at. If we look at our support list over here, what we will see is that my selected support is highlighted. And as I look farther down the list, if I right click, I will find some more functionalities here. I can delete a surface. I can duplicate a surface. This is useful if I want to have more than one support type in a particular surface. Something very useful is that if I copy parameters, if I change parameters on the fly in my support parameters pages here at the bottom right, I can copy parameters that I like from something that I change to one or more of the other surfaces. Now, note in my support list that I have a red support. What that means is this particular support contacts the part somewhere other than just the down-facing triangles. And you can see here that that's where it contacts the support. We're going to take a look at fixing that in just a little bit, but I am going to right now go to another button, and it's just a visual selection tool. It says go to surface, and this allows me to just visually select a surface for me to look at. That way I don't have to know exactly which surface it is in my list over here. I can just visually select what that surface is. If I want to change the parameters of that particular surface, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the rest of these for right now. If I want to change the parameters on the fly for that surface, I come over here to the support parameters pages, and let's just say, for example, I wanted to change the hatching size. I'm going to go in here and pick a hatching and then click the regenerate 2D and 3D button, and the hatching will change. If I like that, I can leave it. If I want to edit that some more, I have many parameters here for me to edit. I'm going to look at a little bit different type of support right here. And let's turn the rest of them off. If I decide, you know what, I don't want that type of support. I want to make cones here. I can go to my type page in my support parameters page, and I can click cones. Click cones. Now, something very important here in the machine properties, which is something that you'll set up before you go and start generating supports, there's a create preview selection. You always want to create a preview for these cones. It is selected by default, and that's the way you want it. If I choose to create the support, if I have a very large area, like maybe here, it can take quite a while for us to create a support for that. But if all I do is just have the preview on, I'm going to go up here to my cones. I'm going to change my spacing. You know what? I think they're just a little bit too far apart. I'm going to choose that far apart instead. And then when I create supports, you'll see that it does take just a little bit of time for this, not too terribly long. And what I'm going to do from here is allow this to run. When it's done, it will have some solid volume cones there. There's going to be a few spaces that I'm going to fill in with some manual cones. So that's what we're going to do next. So there they are. I have my nice solid cones. And you can see here I have a little bit of space. If I had used that other 1.5 millimeter spacing, it would have filled this in, but it also would have taken a little bit too long for our video. So we went with 2 millimeter spacing. But that's okay, because I can go up here and choose to create my cone supports manually. I'm going to turn on all my surfaces, because as I start creating manual supports, the rest of these are going to become deselected. I just click the indicate button here, and you'll see that I can say, all right, let's put one right there. And then we'll put one here. And then we'll put one here. And click OK. And there they are. There they are. So that's how I can create those cone supports. Lastly, let's take a look. I talked about this support over here, right there, that guy. And this is undesirable. I really don't want supports, if I can avoid it, contacting more than just my downsafe facing surfaces in my part, because that means I have to do more finishing. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to angle it out and away from the part. So if I go to this advanced tab right here on my support pages, I'm going to go to an angled support. I'm just going to use an interactive angle. And what this will allow me to do is just I'm going to grab it right here, and I'm going to drag it out a little bit from the part. Oh, I need to go just a little bit farther. You can see it's still on there, just a little bit farther, maybe that far. There we go. That's what I wanted. And something else I like to do, and you can see that this is maybe not ideal coming up at an angle into the part like this. So I can make straight sections. I'm going to kind of exaggerate it a little bit, or not. It's not that far, only 5 millimeters at the top and the bottom. And so what's going to happen here when I hit regenerate 2D and 3D is you'll see that there's a little straight section. See it straighten out? There it is. A little straight section right there. Right there. I also have it down here. Let's turn this off. Like so. And that is our quick primer on the support generation module, SG+, that is targeted for metal 3D printing. As always, if you have any questions, you can reach the technical support staff here at Materialise by sending an email to magics@materialise.com. Thank you for your time.